Hi guys, today I'm here with Miss Raven Gibbs, and she's here to talk about to talk. Sorry, she's here today to talk with me about being mindful, how to deal with mental issues in the middle of COVID, and also to tell us a little bit about herself. So Raven, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. Thank you for having me, first off. Again, my name is Raven. I am in the Raleigh area, Raleigh, North Carolina. I have been volunteering for different mental health organizations for many years, including Eustress Incorporated. This happened on accident, but um, my passion has been mental health for so long. At the age of 14, I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. And since then, I've really put a focus on learning more about not just, anxiety and depression in themselves, but overall mental health and mental wellness, especially holistic practices of healing. And that's how mindfulness movement was born. And I am currently in school for my pursuing licensures for clinical mental health counseling, and I'm really excited about it.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. Well, I think my first question would be, what advice would you want to give to people who want to get into your field, like in the field of mental health and counseling, and what would you want to tell them?
I would say really do some deep introspective work. I recently, with people being more mindful of their mental health and seeing how necessary it is in the world, I've also seen people say that they want to go into the field, and I always call it a heart check. Make sure that this is really something that you want to do, because you're dealing with people's lives. It's not just a trend. It's not just, oh, self-care is relaxing and putting cucumber on our eyes and face masks. It's really doing the work. And like I said, because you're taking people's lives into your hands, and you're, for many people, their sole resource at getting the help that they need, it can't just be a trend or something that's just fun to do. You really have to be engaged and have a passion for it, because on the other hand, as a counselor, it's not easy to take on other people's baggage. I always use the metaphor as a backpack. When you're counseling people, you're constantly putting stuff into your backpack, and at some point you're going to need to take that off because it's just way too heavy. So just knowing that you're passionate about it, know that you love it, know that it's something that, you can't be swayed because you heard a bad story or this broke your heart. Like, you're going to hear some things that you may not want to hear. Have a love for it, because if not, you're not going to put 100% into it.
Yeah, that's right. I think another thing I would like to add is that, a lot of times people think that, oh, mental health is just, a counselor is just someone, they use the word, I'm seeing a shrink, like,
Mm-hmm.
they don't put it that much emphasis on it. They just put it down as someone, oh, he just listens to what I'm talking, and I just rant, and I just pay this person like an ungodly amount an hour, and just, they think of it in a negative connotation. And often I think they don't understand that sometimes just talking to another person from another perspective helps,
Mm-hmm.
and that, mental health counselors and therapists are actually trained people for this.
Mm-hmm.
And they're taught how to take it, how to deal with all of this. And it's not just like, oh, you just tell something out to a friend and he just reacts randomly to it,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of, like, when people come to talk to you as a mental health counselor, I think a lot of what they say and what they don't say depends on your reaction to what you say.
Right.
Like,
Right.
if you react too strongly, or you react in a manner to say, oh, really, this is what you do, or like,
Mm-hmm.
you make a face like,
Mm-hmm.
which is something like, oh, that's disgusting. I don't think the person would be compelled enough to tell you anything further and
Right.
troubling them.
Right.
So yeah.
It's a collaborative effort. It requires, engagement on both ends.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's listening and speaking from a different perspective that maybe you hadn't thought about as the client, or I mean, even as a counselor, you're hearing a different perspective than what you would normally do. So just listening to each other, engaging, and making sure it's teamwork. In all honesty, it's not just one person doing the work.
Yeah. So another thing what I would like to ask you is that what do you wish that, you had known when you began this career? Like one thing you just popped up and you're like, oh, this is not what I expected this to look like.
I feel like the one thing that I feel like counseling programs do not do enough to train their counselors on self-care and turning off the counseling role. I know for me, I knew a lot about what my needs were as far as self-care. Like, I can't just be in the house. I have to go out and get active. My self-care is releasing endorphins. But I don't feel like there's enough of an emphasis on, well, how does the counselor take care of themselves? I know a lot of counselors that go to counseling, but what else are they doing outside of that to really take care of themselves? And it's one of those things that's not even really talked about. Like, we brought it up in class one time and just got different ideas of what people were doing for self-care. And a lot of people were saying, I don't know, what do you do? And I'm like, how do you not know what to do for self-care? But it's the reality of it. Like, again, people a lot of times think that self-care is just, relaxing in a bubble bath and things like that. While it can be that, like, what are you doing to really just make sure your mental is in a good place, make sure your physical is in a good place? Like, what are you putting into your body? And I don't mean that just in the sense of like food or what you intake. Like, what are you looking at as far as news channels or media outlets? Like, what are you really putting in your body? Because that's a form of taking care of yourself as well. So yeah, I wish I had practiced more mindfulness before going into a counseling program so I could be aware of what my limits were and things like that.
So what would you say as a counselor your limits are? Like, where does it stop?
So one thing that I have an iPhone, one thing that I love about iPhone is it has this feature called downtime. And once you well, mine is currently set from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. I can use my phone. At 10 p.m., I can't check my emails. I can only check certain contacts, like I can put them as starred. I can always change these settings, but for me, I've decided at 10 p.m. everything turns off. I have to have a limit or else I'll keep going. I know me well enough to know I don't know when to tell myself no until my body is physically telling me I can't do anymore. So having that feature and being forced to just cut everything out, quiet the mind, that is huge for me. And while that may not work for everyone else, I can't just keep it on. It's like one of those things. I'm sure I'm not the only person, but the first thing that you do in the morning oftentimes is just grab your phone. And it's like, no, take a moment to meditate, take a moment to pray or whatever you need to do to, start your day off in the best light. Like, it can't just be reaching for your phone. That can't be the first thing that you ingest. So that's huge. That downtime feature is the best thing that they've done.
Well, I didn't even know about it, and I have an iPhone as well. So thank you. I shall look into that. Yeah, well, I totally agree with that because I feel like the first thing, it happens to me sometimes as well because, maybe I have some assignments or maybe some grades came in. So I'm just like, it's just there and I just keep looking at it in the morning and then I'm just like, okay, you know what? No. And then I just get up. What I like to usually do is, I don't know if it's very dramatic or not, but usually I like to listen to something really energetic in the morning. And you just come up, maybe listen to all these old songs from like 2000s and stuff, where you just like, you're suddenly in the morning, you listen to like old songs from Rihanna or something.
I love it.
Like, imagine waking up in the morning and brushing to all the single ladies out there, and it just boosts you out in the day. Like, you're just like, yes, that's what's happening. So I think that's something which is really important, and I like to do as well. So, the first thing when I get up in the morning. And it's annoying for everyone else living in the house, because literally someone wakes up and it's like, my sister's like, can you shut it off? I'm trying to just get up, and she's grumpy, and I'm just like,
come on, get up.
Oh, single lady.
No, we're kind of the same. So I have a Google Home device, and when I say good morning, it starts my playlist. Like, and so I'm waking up and I'm singing, and well, my dog, she's in my lap right now, but she's usually popping up then too with the music. I'm like, come on, it's time to get the day started. So I think that's great.
Yeah, I think it boosts you up more than anything. Like, if you just, and I think even if I wake up in a grumpy mood and it's in a bad mood, and if I try to play cheerful songs, it kind of like gives you that small boost. And other people just go for, maybe exercising and stuff like that. But then I'm lazy. So I think just a little jiggling and shimming around in the bathroom is enough exercise for me for the day. Well, yeah. So what would you say was like the best resources which helped you in the utilizing, becoming a counselor and,
utilizing your support system. I know for me, another big thing that I had to do some inner work. I have a problem, or had a problem, with asking people for help, or even talking to people about areas where I need improvement, or just issues in general. So I had to completely stop that, because keeping things to myself like really caused me to completely shut down. Like, it was a horrible moment for me where I was just like crying and sad, and I'm like, I feel like I can't talk to anyone. And my whole support system was like, dude, we're here. I'm like, oh, okay. So I think the biggest resource for me has been my support system, knowing that I can call on my brothers, my best friend, my mom, my cousins, even my mentors. Of course, respecting their boundaries. Like, I'm not calling them all times of the night, but just knowing that they're there. I can shoot a simple text and say, I'm struggling, can you help me here? And a lot of my friends, because they're engaging in like mindfulness practices, we operate in a way that's like non-judgmental. Coming in with an open mind, being able to speak freely, that has been so helpful to me. Like, my support system is the best out there. I don't care what anyone says. I can talk to them about anything, and I don't feel judged. I don't feel like, because I don't know a certain thing, that, you're not smart enough. No, my support system is really keen on helping me grow. And I love that about them. Also, seeing my therapist, like, I think everyone should have a therapist. And I'm not saying that just because that is the profession that I'm passionate about. No, everyone should have a therapist. You should be able to vent to someone. So yeah, that's two, not one.
That sounds amazing. That's really nice. Like, you seem to have a lot of people to open up to, and I think that's really great. That's something amazing. And I don't mean to sound pessimistic, but you're actually very lucky, because I've seen so many people, they struggle the same with you. And, a lot of times they don't get to open up to people because they have like different family issues going up at home. So I think, whenever we find different people to like open up to, and then, say if you're in high school or something, opening up to your friends, and, if something happens, I think that hurts you even more, because you're in that stage of your life where you're so delicate.
Right.
And, like, a lot of times people don't understand, but I think you can rely more on family than friends.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah, I say it all the time. I'm very fortunate. I feel that I'm very blessed with the people that have, not just my family, because my family support system is very strong. We're very tight as well. I have a very close family, but the friends that have been placed in my life, My goodness, like I don't know what I did to deserve them, but I am blessed beyond measure. I smile just thinking about them because they are really my lifesavers, my everything. Like I love my friends.
I can see that. I can see it shining. You're just
They're
smiling.
awesome.
It's like a glow. Well, who would you say is your role model or your inspiration?
Oh gosh.
You can
Okay,
name
so
all of them. You don't have to choose one. Like you don't have to
um,
have one.
my big brother, we're only a year apart, so we're very, very close. We're 14 months apart. So he's always been not just my big brother, but my best friend. Like I talk to him about everything.
Amazing.
And he'll give me advice from the brother perspective and, you know, also laugh with me like my best friend. So that's my number one. And of course my mom, because that's my mom. But I have two friends that I'm like really, really close to. I call her Luck, Kiara Luck. She's a sports journalist, and we met in 2013 and have just been inseparable. Like, it's really weird because when people come around, they think we're actually sisters. We call each other sisters. We look alike, we act alike, and do a whole bunch of like things that are similar. But I know that I can call on her at any instant and she will be here right away, or give me sound advice, or let me laugh, let me cry, all of that great stuff. And then as far as mentors, Renshawn Miller, he is the owner of Eustress Incorporated and the Good Stress Company in Charlotte. Wearing his shirt.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, he's finishing his PhD work, but he is a counselor well, he's a mental health change agent is what he calls it, in Charlotte. And he's been so supportive on every step of the way, giving me advice, you know, sending me scholarship information so that I can get through school. Like just about anything that you can think of where you would want a mentor, he has been that person. Answers all questions. Again, does not judge me when I'm like, well, what does this theory mean? Because that doesn't make sense to me. He's like, okay, well, let's break it down in a way that makes sense. I'm a dancer as well, so he'll put it in like dancer terms. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense to me. But he's just been awesome at pushing me. He does not let me stop or settle. So like my mom, my brother, my friend Luck, and Renshawn, like they are my powerhouse. They are awesome.
That's amazing. Well, I've also seen that you dance. Like I was looking at your, Instagram profile, and it was like a really cool site. And then you had like one dance routine thing, and it was really cool. So like, I think, I mean, from what I've spoken to you about, I think one thing which you keep mentioning is that self-care is something really important, that ever since you were 14, you've been trying to learn as much as you can about yourself and how to deal with it and all of that. And I think maybe, I'm assuming that's completely assumptional, but maybe you picked up dancing, or you liked dancing and you realized you could make something out of it. And so how did you find a way that, hey, these are the type of dancers, or if you do these certain kind of forms and stuff like that, that maybe it's better for you, and you can help relieve your stress and whatnot? Or was it like, hey, I really like dancing, and I think that if we just do this and we have this fun little number, it's going to be really fun.
So this is odd. So I initially did not want to dance. I was named after Raven Wilkinson, the first Black ballerina. And so I guess I was inclined to dance before I even knew it. But I was like, I don't know about it. I was a huge tomboy growing up. But what I did learn in dance classes were discipline. That's the first thing. Like, that's huge. Like taking care of your body, taking care of yourself. Again, you have to if you want to dance. And then I realized that, hey, I'm actually kind of good at this. Like, this works. So that there, it helped my self-esteem. And of course, when I started learning more about anxiety and depression, dance allows you to release so many endorphins. It's cathartic, in all honesty, even if you're not dancing in a uniformed way. Like, you don't need choreography to release. Just that movement alone. It's just like, you know, running for people that enjoy running. I don't, but it's like
I don't either.
No.
I cannot.
Not at all. But just being able to move your body and finding, you know, the joy in having that motion, because again, not everyone is blessed in that way. And just being able to, you know, connect with music that just makes you happy. It can completely change your mood. Like, I don't think that I would be able to make it through a counseling program if it weren't for dance or some type of release. Because again, you're keeping all of that baggage in your backpack and you're not taking anything out. When I get on the dance floor, I get to take everything out of that backpack, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, and just leave it there and keep it moving. And that is the best thing for me. Like, hands down. I love, even when I'm not in a studio space, the living room, you see the speaker in the back, mm-hmm. I will turn on music and just dance through here like what seems like a crazy person, but it feels good to me. And I can just let it go. Whatever it is, just let it go.
That's good. That's amazing. I think it's just, I don't know, when you said that you're dancing in your living room, I just imagined, like, you know, there's a window behind you, and I just imagined that if someone was like looking at her from there and you just see her dancing, because ever since that TV show You came out, all I keep thinking of is someone is looking through my curtains.
I love that show too. It's like my guilty pleasure show, so yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. So if someone were stalking you, I think they'd just find you dancing out and just living your life.
Well entertained.
They would for sure. Well, if you look back, what would you say was like your biggest failure, and what do you think? Like, you know, how did you bounce back from it?
Biggest failure. You know, I feel like, and I know I'm not the only person that struggles with this, but negative self-talk can really take you away from a lot of experiences. So I don't know if I should label this a failure or not. I call every failure an experience. I talked myself out of a really big audition. And I think about it often because my brain was saying, you're not good enough. You don't have the training. All of these people have agents. You don't have an agent. Oh, you did a few shows? They're not like their shows. You shouldn't do it. Don't even waste your time. And so I drove all the way to Atlanta and did not audition. And I sat in my friend's apartment and I just, you know, just sat there, and I'm thinking, maybe I should get dressed and go. Maybe not. And I saw like some of my friends actually, you know, because they published the audition on live and everything, I saw them actually get chosen. And I'm like, I can't believe I talked myself out of that. Like, why did I do that to myself? So I don't know if that's a big failure, but it was one of those moments where I had to like really put myself in check and say, why did you say that to yourself? Like, who are you to doubt the abilities that you were blessed with? Who are you to doubt, you know, or basically tell everyone that believes in you that you're incapable? Who are you to, you know, waste your talent when your parents, your mom has invested in it? Like, she's poured money into you, and you chose to shut down your own talents. You didn't even give anyone else the opportunity to view them and say, maybe this isn't what they want. You did that to yourself. Who does that? And I legit had to, on my way driving back from Atlanta, the whole ride home, I'm like, who does that? Like, what did you just do? Who are you? So if anything, that might be my biggest failure. And I have this thing, and all of my friends know it. I have a really hard time with not telling myself no, but with understanding the concept of no. I don't like rejection, all of that great stuff. So I let the idea of possible rejection overpower, possible acceptance and whatever else was to come from that audition. But yeah, it was a long 6-7 hours coming back to Raleigh. But
by the time you were beat, you were just like, I'm so tired from driving and from all that thinking. And I think I agree with that, because I am literally kind of like that in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So because I'm a junior in college, and I think, my resume isn't that great, and this is kind of the time when everyone starts applying for internships and stuff like that. And a lot of my friends are doing very well, and I'm very glad for them. I genuinely am. But then, you see people go up and be like, hi, I'm doing a degree in computer science, and I got a job in Intel, and I'm interning at Apple, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know, yay. And I think that a lot of times, and I don't mean it in a bad way, it's just that when you grow up around that okay, you're in a certain things, and you're certainly used to, okay, these are the kind of grades I used to get. So I think a lot of times we're so stuck with trying to be successful and trying to be the best and this and that, and we just don't realize that. And we just take all of that pressure on ourselves, we just build it up, pile it up, and then I think in the end we can't handle it ourselves. And and it's just the repetitive behavior. And I think that's one big reason which kind of contributes to, anxiety today and the stress today.
Absolutely.
Because if you're trying so hard to be the best and you don't have time to explore yourself, if you can't live up to that very extremely high potential, or the standard, not potential, sorry, the standard which everyone holds you to, I think, you are going to start doubting yourself. You are going to get stressed because you're not able to do it. And, human beings are social people. We want to be the person who's following the norm, who's sticking, fitting in, and, sticking to what we know, because that's kind of how we're functioning. And, so it's kind of, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Please go on.
I feel like right now we are in a constant state of comparison. Again, social media, it plays a huge part in that, but you're constantly seeing, people's successes, and people rarely post their failures. So all you see is, well, this is happening for me and this is happening for me. So then you start looking at yourself, well, why isn't that happening to me? Or what about me? It's a constant cycle. And again, that's one of the reasons why I appreciate the downtime feature. I can turn that off and I can really focus on what makes me happy. What about me really speaks to me? I also have a gratitude journal. I understand where you are right now with, your friends applying to internships, because I was in your position, your exact position. Because I'm like, oh, that's nice. I should probably look into that, huh? And I don't know. I don't feel like I graduated as prepared for life as I should have been when compared to my friends. I decided a week before graduation, I'm not going to go to law school. I'm going to go dance on someone's tour. What? That alone is what do you mean? Have you even auditioned? Nope. I'm just going to go do it. So I understand not feeling like, you have it all together, and that's okay. In this moment, what is it about you that you're still so thankful for and so grateful for? What brings you joy? What are you passionate about? These are things that I write down every day in my journal, my gratitude journal. I have a couple. But in my gratitude journal, I make sure I'm again in the morning before looking at my phone, I'm practicing my affirmations. I'm, meditating, praying, and then I'm writing down what I'm grateful for and what I expect to receive from the day, not from next week, not in the future, even though, we'd love to, I guess, kind of predict what happens in the future. And yeah, that's great and all, but what are we going to focus on today that will build our future? So if you don't have a gratitude journal or a journal in that way where you can talk about your today goals instead of your long-term goals and just see how they build up into your long-term goals, I totally encourage you to do that, because I understand what you're feeling, because that was me my whole junior and senior year. I'm like, woo, you guys are doing great. What the heck am I doing with myself?
Yeah, I think it just took me quite some time because I don't know, it's just the way you're used to thinking. So after a while, I was just like, you know what? Screw it. No, but more than that, I think saying that, screw this, I think it just helped me put aside all of that, and it's just just put it aside, and now, okay, I can focus on myself now that I'm not focusing on, what this and that person is
what you
doing.
can't even control.
Exactly. And I think one important thing, I feel like, then I realized something, and I told myself, I'm like, dude, I don't think even if you could have, it would have really worked working at Apple or Intel, because these are kind of IT companies. And I'm majoring in psychology and economics. So there are roles, but not in the field which I'm going for.
Right.
Everyone is so caught up in hey, this and that. And I'm just like, a lot of the roles aren't even for me. And that's not really what I want to do with my life. So why am I getting caught up in someone else's whole dangling thing? And then you just realize that, and you're just like, oh, okay. That's kind of dumb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once you realize that, and you're like, okay, that isn't me, and that's okay.
Exactly.
That part is it's a life changer. That it's okay.
Yeah, and then I just realized that, hey, I can do something with my life, and if not, there's always a chance to run away with a whole new identity, just work, I don't know, live by the beach, work as...
I would love to do off the grid living. That is still a goal of mine.
Yeah, if nothing works, I'll go to Hawaii with a new name, okay?
It's beautiful. No, you're doing great. Again, that spirit of comparison, it is innate in all of us, and it will drive you crazy until you realize, what is it that truly makes you happy? If honestly, you say you love music and just dancing around, if you wanted to be a meditative dance coach, that's literally what they do. If you find something that you're good at and you're passionate about and it brings you joy, that's your thing. You don't have to be, this super IT I went into college thinking I was going to be a doctor. I have a whole fear of blood, but because I saw my friends oh wow, you're in a nursing program, oh, I'm going to be like you. I spent 2 years struggling in biology and in chemistry, and I don't even like blood. How am I going to be a doctor? I'm going to have to see this at some point. And I realized this just is not for me, and that's okay. And my friends are doing great. They're doctors in different states, but that's just not me. I support them. I love them. I sure wish I could do it, because my goal in life is just to heal people, but maybe it wasn't healing in that way. Maybe it's healing with the mind. That's okay. And I had to have that long speech. It's okay, dude. You're just going a different route. Still the same end goal, to heal, but a different way. It's okay.
I think exactly. When it clicks into place, I think you're just like, whew, okay.
Thank you.
I get it. It's just fixed out now. And then at the end of it, you're just like, thank God it's done. It's done. I've thought that. I've learned a lot from that. But then I need to chill. I need to calm the hell down.
And we're back.
Yes. And we're back to being whoever we were before all of this. So there's always a over-exaggerated overthinking whole zone with it, and then there's a post of that, and it's like, Cool, let's just go watch some Netflix. Because that stuff is,
Basically.
yeah, that stuff is so tiring. And I think, this, when you were saying that, a lot of people, a lot of times, like, a lot of kids these days, they're diagnosed with depression, with anxiety and things like that. And I think they don't understand that, self-care is very important for them, because, you understood that, and, you wanted to learn as much as you can about that. But a lot of times with, diseases like these, it's just that, you go down that spiral, and, sometimes you're not thinking rationally.
Right.
And I think, when all of this adds on to that, oh, everyone seems to be doing well, but I'm the only one who's not doing well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just adds in more, and you're just like, what am I doing? And it just makes you feel more and more, and just further spiral down.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, maybe we could talk a bit more about this topic, because I feel like, as a person who's gone through that, and, you've tried the best to, like, pick up some tips and, use things as resources which to heal yourself and understand yourself. Maybe you could, like, tell some, the kids, or like whoever is listening to this podcast, as, maybe what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing.
Again, journaling has been huge for me. Even if you feel like you don't have a resource who's going to be able to listen to exactly how you feel, your journal is going to be able to listen to you. You can get those feelings out of there. You don't have to worry about, confidentiality or anyone spreading how you feel. So that's number one. I encourage everyone to journal. Like, that's been so huge for me. But really be curious to all that's out there for you. Don't box yourself in so much. Again, that spirit of comparison will have you in this little box, thinking that this is where I'm supposed to be because this is what everyone else is doing. It's okay to take a step back and really discover who you are and what you like. It doesn't have to be like everyone else's ideal thing. That's okay. Just again, with mindfulness, you practice open-mindedness and living in a non-judgmental way, which means, you come in just clear with, like, even if you have knowledge on the subject, you're supposed to act like, here's the best way that I break it down for my students. Come in with the same curiosity as a 2 or 3-year-old. They don't know anything, but they are so willing to take risks. They don't listen to you when you say no. And they get really excited when you cheer. If you go into every experience with that same mindset where I can do anything, I'm not going to listen to you. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to try it. Even if it hurts me, I'm going to try it. Like, I'm not saying hurt yourself, but I'm saying just take the risk, the same risk that a 2 and 3-year-old, and I don't know if you've been around a lot of them, but they are some risky, they just learned how to walk, but now they want to run, and then they want to, it's just too much. I have nieces and nephews. I'm like, why are you doing that? But then again, I'm like, well, you don't really know how this works. So that's why you're over here trying to put, stuff in a blender. Like, they just do stuff. Like, what are you doing? Not the best example of the blender. I don't let my nieces and nephews do that. But just explore, be open to all that life has to offer you. Get out of that box. Be the 2 or 3-year-old, like, approach life with that same zeal. They are so excited, even when they fail. Like, have you ever seen a child when they're first walking, they fall, but they're not like, woe is me, I can't do it anymore. They're like, okay, I fell. Some of them laugh, but they get back up and they're trying again. Like, what if you approach life in that same way? Like, what could you accomplish if you just took that chance? You fall down, you get back up, because you don't know what's 3 steps in front of you. You've never walked before. I feel like that's how I approach most of my life. Like, and I've been that way for forever. I don't understand the concept of, no, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do it. And if I fail, I fail. It's okay. I've learned something, but I will be able to say I did this experience, and nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can say I haven't lived life to the fullest extent that I know how. Like, I actually went and I lived. So I don't know if that answered the question.
That did. Thank you. That did. You actually explained it really beautifully. Like, I was just so caught up in listening to, your stories and how you were explaining it. That was perfect.
Okay, thank you.
I feel like you're a really good teacher. I feel like you explain things with such, like, with the stories and with the things, and I feel like you're a really amazing teacher.
Oh, good. Yay. I try.
Oh, well, I think one of my final questions, actually, I have two of them. I think my second last question would be, how did you meet Rittika?
Online. So as much as I talk about social media and how I'm not the biggest fan, I've made some meaningful and powerful connections online. And I feel like that has been so beautiful. That is the best part about social media. Like, pictures are nice, statuses are great, but I meet some really awesome people on Instagram. So yes, on Instagram.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think it's just these are like two sides to a coin, because a lot of times you just meet someone, you click, and you're like, they're half a continent away from me. How is this working?
I have a whole best friend who lives in Hawaii. Like, and social media brought us together. And we finally met in, when did we meet? We met in person in 2018, but from 2014 to 2018, we only knew each other from Instagram. And then I finally, we exchanged numbers. So then it turned into, FaceTime chats and stuff like that. But we didn't meet until 2018. And then when we met, it was like, bestie, oh my gosh. So thank you, Instagram. If nothing else, I got a couple friends from there.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. I mean, I have a couple of friends from like random places, and you just wonder, hey, in a normal circumstance, we would have never talked, but it's just crazy.
I love how it works that way too. Like, it's organic friendship in the most inorganic way.
Yeah. And I think those friendships are really honest and true, because both of these people don't have anything to gain from each other. It's like, you can't be using each other because both of the people have no connection to each other in their lives,
Right.
You're just talking because you guys connect, and that's the only thing which
had something in common that connected you two, and it just built that friendship. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Oh, well, I think my final question for you would be, how do you think COVID has impacted you, like, in terms of your mental health?
It's been crazy. No. So COVID has, of course, put a halt on all things touring. Again, I dance, so I have had to change everything from how I continue to live or support myself financially. My outlet initially changed. I had a dance studio in Durham and had to close it due to COVID. So after that, I did go into a little bit of a valley because I'm like, how am I going to dance again? Like, I have nothing. I've lost my passion and the drama. But then I started thinking about, what I'm grateful for. Like, I have a home with space where I can still dance. It's not dancing like what it used to be, but it is still dance. I'm not able to see my students, but we have Zoom. I'm fortunate enough to have, electricity and Wi-Fi that I can still connect with them. It's not ideal, but are we still connecting? Absolutely. I think it's a perspective shift more than anything. Of course, going into COVID, I'm like, I don't get to travel. I love to travel. I love to see my friends. I'm very much an ambivert, but when I'm with my friends, I'm totally an extrovert. How am I going to compensate for that? So, of course, my FaceTime dates have gone up to see my friends and things like that. It's changed a lot, but it's also showed me how creative we as a people are and how we're able to pivot. So if anything, initially, of course, I thought that COVID was going to be the end of everything for us. Like, oh my gosh, I can't, just a little dramatic, just a little bit. But when you really start to think about it, it's like that perspective shift where you start thinking, gosh, I'm really blessed that I've seen how it's impacted some, and I'm not in that position. Like, I'm praying for the people in, certain positions, but gosh, thank you for keeping me. Thank you for, covering me. Thank you for making sure that even though I can't be on someone's stage, I am still able to provide for myself financially and, still do the things that make me happy. I'm able-bodied, I'm healthy, I can still see my friends and communicate and meet new people. Like, it's not that bad. I don't want to, diminish anyone if someone's still in that space of this is horrible. Once you shift that perspective, you start thinking about the many blessings. Like, we're still here. We may have lost some, but gosh, we've gained angels. Like, it's really about how you look at it. If anything, I feel like COVID has been more of a blessing to me than any damage, because it's giving me a chance to pause, to take a step back and reset. It's been the ultimate reset button. It hasn't all been great. It hasn't all been pretty, but it's been able to help me slow down, because I don't. I never do. Prior to COVID, I was still touring and working and had the studio, nonprofit, and school, and it's so much. And now it's like, it's taught me to be quiet and be still and really just value my own presence and find other things. That I learned that I'm very creative and I can do DIY projects. Like, that has been huge for me. Like, I built a desk and some floating shelves. Like, it made me so happy. Like, I can cut wood and I can make little designs. That's huge. I know that doesn't seem like much to anyone else, but I grew carrots this year. Like, it has been the ultimate slow down. Like, take a moment to just get back in touch with you. Like, who are you really? I realized I didn't know as much as I thought I knew about myself. I'm a great gardener. Like, just random things. I'm like, wow, COVID, had it not come, I don't think I would have known that. I mean, I feel like anybody could put a seed in the ground and something might grow, but wow, I actually grew my own carrots.
Wow, that's amazing.
So, I don't know. For me, it's been eye-opening. It's revealed a lot about me and humanity as a whole. Like, we are really able to adjust and make the best out of what seems like it is a crappy situation, but we've been able to make the best out of it. And I love that about us. I just think we're awesome. Like, what a resilient people we are.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, because I feel like COVID has brought out, I mean, I like to call it the true nature of people, because usually everyone's going around, everyone's so nice and this and that, everyone's so politically correct. And then it's usually truly when in the face of, in times of need and during when people are in trouble, you really understand how they are.
Yeah.
And while there have been a lot of idiots, a lot of idiots,
like the whole mask. We're going to storm Target without our mask.
And then, I can't breathe through it. I'm like, people with asthma can breathe through a mask. Like, they've shown that they can breathe through
If you were in surgery right now, wouldn't you want your surgeon to have on a mask? Like, come on, you can do this.
Just simple things. And you just look at them and you just realize, okay, are you really using your brain? But then I realized that, I can't always convince someone to change the way they think, because as much as I don't agree with it, I can't change that person. Sometimes you feel like just taking the person, just shaking them. Just shake it out of them. I'm like, I'm gonna shake the stupid out of you, but then it just frustrates you. But then I think after that you realize, okay, I can't control all of this. I just need to take a step back and focus on the good things. And there have been a lot of good things. People have come forward to help each other. People have, health workers are even in the times like this, they're working overtime, they're overexerting themselves, they're putting themselves in so much danger just so that they can help people.
Right.
And I think that's the ultimate thing, that, all of these people, there's so many people who are going out there, businesses are starting again, delivery services, stuff like that, just so that everyone can make sure the world's kind of running again.
Right.
But yeah, so I think it's just like two ways to look at it. And, like you said, that it was a really good time for people to slow down and find out who they are. And I think even with like families and, friends, people just got like a small chance to just pause and be like, where am I doing all this running around to? Like, where am I running around to? Like, is there a point to this or not? I think.
And we realize there's really no point to it. Slow down. Like, take a moment and enjoy the present. Like, I can only speak for me, but one of those big things that had played into my head prior to COVID was, what's my next move? What's next? And it's a constant thing, like, what's next? And I'm focused so much on the future that I found myself not completely enjoying the present as much as I should have or could have been. Like, there have been so many great things that did happen during or prior to COVID that I just did not fully take advantage of or fully even realize, because I'm so stuck on, okay, well, what happens next? Like, no, breathe in this moment, take it all in, like, make sure it connects with your heart and your mind, like, take this in deep and then move forward to the next thing. Take a deep breath. So I appreciate the reset. As I hope that doesn't sound bad. I might seem a little crazy, but I really do appreciate it.
No, I get it. Like, amongst all the craziness, you found like, something to keep you calm during the storm. So like,
and I got a puppy out of it. So
I think that's the best thing. That's the best bonus. You just
She's
get a puppy.
awesome. She sleep. She won't wake up, but she's right here in my lap. Sorry.
So that's amazing. But yeah, it was really, really nice talking to you.
Thank you. It was great talking to you. I guys should do like bigger conversations like this. I don't know if you do, but this was great. Like,
this is great, really. I mean, I think I would try for bigger conversations, because it would just, everyone would come together, but I don't know. But that's a really good idea. Like, you should invite
you're
your
easy
friends.
to talk to. Very
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm usually very scared to do podcasts and whatnot. And I don't know. It's just, okay, I'm going ahead and saying this on record. I'm usually very scared to do all of this. But then, like, I remember the first time Rittika was like, you have to interview me, and I was sweating buckets. Like, on camera, you can't see anything. Like, behind me, my shirt's wet and all of it, and I was just so scared. But yeah, thank you. Like, talking to you has been so easy. Like, it just feels just like a normal, effortless conversation we're having. It does not feel like we're meeting for the first time. And
right.
We're like states across. It does not feel like
social media and inorganic, organic connection. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, not a problem.
Oh, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.